talking to Senator Juan Ponce and really the minority floor leader. Senator, what possible amendments do you see could be introduced as far as EPIRA is concerned?
Well, you know, two major ones. The stranded debts and stranded costs, both for the public sector and the private sector, should not be passed on to the consumers. No? And you cannot do that because they deregulated, they privatized the generation sector and regulate the distribution sector and the transmission sector. Eric, you know, the simple structure of the power system of the countries, you have the generation of electricity, you have the high tension wire, the
transmission.
What's it called?
Transmission?
Transmission wire, no? And then you have the distribution wire. These are the two, and then you have the consumer.
Okay.
They regulate the transmission and then the distribution wire, but of course the consumer is there already, but you do not regulate the price of generation. And it's really very hard to generate the what do you call this? The generation, because there are many factors that touch the cost of power when generated, because the price of fuel, the price of coal, the price of crude, the price of natural gas. No? So before this thing happened, Napocor owned the generation companies, except a few, and then it owned also the transmission, except a few also, in the case of Meralco and some Angeles Power, again the Oro Power, Iligan Power, the Visayan Power, and the Panay Powers. So,
do you see the possibility that the EPIRA would eventually be amended, or there is a very strong lobby against this?
Good luck.
that says it all.
Good luck. Good luck.
So that says it all. Mukhang malungkot ang kwentuhan na ito.
And then as a sequel to that, I proposed, and in fairness to the Lopezes, who were always the target of criticism, they were the one who asked me to sponsor this measure, and they helped me craft it. They crafted it essentially, and then I corrected it also. And then we were going to tap the Malampaya share of the government to subsidize power so that we will lower the cost of power to the consumers, to household and commercial establishments and industrial users. But it never came to pass because it turned out that when I checked, sure, there was the total collection is recorded in the books of the National Treasury, but when I asked where are these deposited, there's no cash anymore. It had been used. At that time I was checking this, the total collection was 78 billion. All gone. It was used already, but the National Treasury will certify that, well, the Malampaya funds are there. We can produce the cash if you need the cash for a purpose, because they can borrow. You see, from the public.
Okay.
It's a very neat financial magic.
It's like similar to the one fund concept.
Yeah.
It's somewhere there, but we cannot just find it. Yeah. Another issue that is right within the front burners of the country is how do we engage China, especially with Ayung and Shoal. They're practically taking over West Philippine Sea.
I think what we should have done was to engage them diplomatically, without abandoning our right, and we should have allotted enough resources to strengthen the military capability of our country. If I were to modernize the armed forces, I'll start with the Air Force first.
Okay.
I'll have to buy with available resources long-range fighter bombers, airplane, and but the administration that followed President Marcos abandoned the security of the country, and then we terminated the military bases agreement with the United States without putting in place a credible defense. So we were only relying on the Mutual Defense Treaty, which does not carry an automatic retaliation provision.
Yes. How should we strengthen our outpost? Should we strengthen our outpost, our military outpost in these contested areas?
Of course. That's what we have done before. With our meager resources, we put up an airfield in Pag-asa, and we stationed Marines there, and even in the small islands. But little by little, we were whittled because we did not have the manpower anymore, and let alone the resources to support them. We did not have our Navy, did not have adequate platforms for combat, and the Air Force had no more airplanes. The F-5s were the best that we could have, but they were gone. The FH-8 that we stationed in Palawan were also placed in disrepair. And that's.
It seems there is no new development or no new structures being built in these areas.
It takes some time before we can really rebuild the military capability of the country. We are getting these old type vessels from the United States for purposes of coastal defense, but that is not adequate. If you look at the equation of military power among nations in our area, in our time, these are what to call this pump boats compared to the high-powered speed craft of our neighbors.
Mr. Senator, who should take the lead in terms of foreign policy? DFA, in this case, is this also a national security issue? Should it be a balance between the Defense Department, the DFA?
It's a function of the Commander-in-Chief. That's why you have the Commander-in-Chief in Malacanang, because he has to coordinate the Department of Foreign Affairs that speaks for us in the diplomatic level and Foreign Affairs international area, and the Defense Department, which handles the external and internal security of the country. And that is why you have also the National Security Advisor of the President that heads has under its command, I think, the NICA, in order to gather the intelligence material for the action of the President as Commander-in-Chief.
So it's not just
and
the Department
Chief Executive, no?
So it's not just the Department of Foreign Affairs.
No.
It cannot be.
It has to, the shaper of foreign policy is the President.
Where is the national
with the advice of the diplomatic service.
Where is the national security here?
Well,
Council. And shouldn't it be convened?
He gathers the materials.
Okay.
That's why President Marcos organized the gargantuan organization called NISA.
Yes.
Which has both operational and intelligence gathering capability.
Okay. Shouldn't the President be convening the National Security Council with former presidents and,
No, that's only an advisory body. The National Security Council. But in actuality, it is the Commander-in-Chief, the President of the Philippines, that is in charge of national security.
Okay.
And I used to chair the Executive Committee of the National Security Council. And that is the working body. And I have such members like Jokno, Manlapu, Sosbenya, and then representing the minority and the majority were Senator Roy, Senator several other nationalist senators.
Senator, what should the country do? Face to face, eyeball to eyeball, when our fishermen are being driven out of their traditional fishing areas?
Realistically speaking, there's nothing we can do.
Okay.
That is the fact of life.
Okay. Should we stand up?
And that is why, well, yes, you can stand up, but your voice is nothing but a gong if you have nothing to back it up.
Should we defend these fishermen?
We should.
We should.
In fact, it's a matter of honor for us, but with what?
Okay.
With what do you use? You do not even have helicopters, attack helicopters that can reach the area of conflict.
Should we commit our Coast Guard in order to protect these people?
Oh my goodness! What arms do you have on your Coast Guard vessels to be able to withstand a 30 millimeter cannon of the enemy? Just 30 millimeter cannon.
Yeah. On this final issue, the Chinese have disallowed us from giving food and aid to Philippine Marines in Ayungin Shoal because there is an LST that has been beached in the shoulder. What do we do, Mr. Senator?
Swim there.
No, what should we do? Kawawa yung mga sundalo. What can you advise? Pinagbawalan na tayong pakainin yung mga sundalo doon.
Better withdraw them. Extricate them.
If we do that, we will be giving up the...
Well, then if you don't, then sacrifice people. That's the burden of leadership.
Okay. You either refuel them...
It is a choice. You know, when you are the
Kailangan lumaban.
When you are the head of a country, you make choices all the time.
Oo.
Either you go this way or you go that way. You retreat or you move forward.
Oo.
You stay put and fight to the last man if necessary, if you want to make a statement.
As long as we are not the initiator of the incident.
Yeah. Well, we renounce war as an instrument of national policy, but that does not mean that we must not defend ourselves. You know?
Okay.
If our claimed territory is being intruded upon.
So we can defend this area. We should defend this area.
But to defend it, you must have the wherewithal to defend it. But if you abandon your defense, kahit nasa bahay lang between neighbors, the other house has guns, and you have only kutsilyo, how can you defend yourself? Di ba?
On another issue, Mr. Senator, March 27, there will be a signing between the government of the Philippines and the Bangsamoro representatives, which is actually composed mostly of MILF representatives. Your initial thoughts about the Bangsamoro, and if I might quote your book, you came out with very strongly during that time, of course.
The Tripoli Agreement.
Yes, and you were very strong against coming out for the, I think if I'm not mistaken, it is here, and if I might quote, it is on page 429. It was an unmitigated and unpardonable sellout. It offered a very high price for peace in